The tips that I'm going to share in this video are a big part of how we were able to pay off our mortgage in just a little over 6 years. We just paid off our mortgage. If you haven't seen that video, I will link it down below. If you don't know the story of my channel, I have been talking about this for about 5 or 6 years now, how our goal was to pay off our home by 2025. Well, we hit it early, and I think that these items that I'm going to talk about, these tips, these ways to save, are very big, very much a part of how we did that. And they are things that we still do to this day. These are things that are just ingrained in us. We aren't going to change overnight just because we paid off our mortgage. These are also super easy things that people can do. People can put these ideas in place and also save money. So let me know down below in the comments, what are you currently doing? What are your favorite ways to save money, or the things that you will splurge on to spend a little bit more because those are the things you value? And if you understand frugal living, it's not some word to be afraid of or worried that somebody's going to say that you are. Being frugal and thinking about things and thinking about purchases is actually extremely smart. It's about spending money on the things that you value, which is completely up to you. You get to choose that. The first one that I want to talk about are shareable lists. This has absolutely saved us from missing items that we didn't know we were out of, or buying duplicates. We use Google Notes for this, and you can absolutely use any kind of notes app that you choose. You can even just use pen and paper, but the great thing about the Google Notes app is, first of all, it's free. I love that. But you can just download it to your phone and you can share it. So my husband and I have access to these two lists. We have access to our Costco list, and we have access to our regular grocery store list. So if he's at home on a Tuesday and notices we're out of sugar or flour, he can write that down so that I don't get to the weekend assuming we already have sugar and flour, and we don't. I can go on the list and go, oh, I need to put this on here, rather than going, well, why didn't you tell me that we were out of that? Also with the Costco list, the same thing. Every time we notice we're getting low on something, just adding it on there. That way we're not in Costco more than we need to be, and we can get all the things while we are there. You save on the gas, you save on the driving, the usage of your vehicle, because you're not having to go multiple times because you forgot something, and you absolutely are saving on the frustration of missing something when you need it, or when you go and think and realize that you bought another peanut butter and you already have 3 because they were stuck at the top of the pantry. That, you know, I'm 5'4", so we put the stuff that I don't need to reach easily enough at the very top in the back. So sometimes it's difficult. I always have to get the stool to check and make sure I don't need that before I put something on the list. You know, it is what it is. Number 2 is about vacations or time off or going somewhere. And for us, this is a place, an area that we like to save money, but we still get great enjoyment. So it's summertime. I thought this was an appropriate topic. And then also, second, this is a question I have been getting asked on repeat when people may hear that my mortgage got paid off, or our mortgage got paid off, and saying, what are you going to do? Celebrate? Are you going to go on some big fancy trip? No, we still don't like to spend money on things that to us aren't important. That's not going to change. So for us, and everybody to each their own. Some people might love super fun, fantastic trips, and they save money in areas that we don't save as much. But for us, we live in a location where we can get to the mountains or we can get to the beach within 2 to 4 hours, depending upon which way we're going. And we also like to stay home. So trips for us, or a vacation, it may only be 2, 3, 4 nights at the max, because we're homebodies, and you know, it works for us. There's the place that we love more than anything, if you're interested, and I'll just tell you real quick, is Charleston, South Carolina. There's an island right off of Charleston called the Isle of Palms. I absolutely love going there. Not only are the beaches beautiful, the people are fantastic, the places there's nice places to stay, and you can then drive in. So let's say it's raining or something on a day you can't go to the beach, you can go into Charleston, go to the really nice aquarium, walk around. There's so many things. It's one of our favorite areas, and for us, we save a ton of money because we can go there versus going on flights and going to all these other places, which I'm sure are great. It's just not our cup of tea. Number 3 is one that we do always. So it doesn't matter where we're going, but we have snacks. We have snacks and we have something to drink. If we're going to, let's say, a friend's house, or we're going to the park, or we're going to, I don't know, out to get presents for a holiday that's coming up, we will take a snack with us at all times, meaning we'll grab a protein bar or a little block of, one of those little wheels of cheese, or something easy. And I always take a water with me. You won't catch me since the time I got pregnant. If you've been pregnant before, the want for water constantly is huge. So since then, and my daughter's over 7 now, I always take water with me no matter where. It doesn't matter. Got the water with me on the way to work, obviously at work, on the way back, going to church, water is with me. So this is going to save it saves us from stopping at gas stations to get something to eat because we're hangry, or going through a drive-through fast food. And I can't. That stuff is so terrible for you. It's overpriced, it's undertasty, overpriced and undertasty. I think I like that little message. And it's terrible for you. So packing snacks, have something in your pantry that you can just grab quickly. I can always tell my daughter, grab your water or grab a snack. If you're going somewhere, it's gonna take a bit to get there, absolutely a necessity. Number 4 is my favorite place to get all kinds of information that saves money, that entertains, that teaches, and it's YouTube. You're watching it right now. Hi. YouTube has been something that I've been on here as far as having my channel for over 6 years, and I still utilize it all the time. My daughter loves it. She's extremely artistic and so good at it. And she goes and watches this one person who teaches kids how to draw. And so she can put anything in that she wants to draw and find it and go in there and draw. And I use it for workouts. I use it to hear alternative news sources. I use it to do research, to learn how to do YouTube. That's how I learned how to do the editing, the filming, the ideas behind the lighting, the microphones, all that. YouTube is free, and I think underutilized for what you can find on it. Number 5 is that we work out for free. My husband has a gym with his work, so that is how he works out. He has that great benefit there. But for me, I work out a couple of different ways, and both of them are completely free. I've paid for different apps in the past. I've paid for subscriptions to things. I had gym memberships years and years ago that I didn't hardly use, and I just choose, for me, I do work out. I am trying to stay healthy and maintain the body that I have while I'm here on this earth as well as I can, but without spending exorbitant amounts of money or driving to, which inevitably leads most people to say, I'm not going to do it, not really feeling up to it, it's raining outside, a little too cold. I go out anyway. And the ways that I work out is I do what's called rucking, if you've heard of that before, where it's a weighted backpack and I walk. So it's not as strenuous on my knees as running, but it does burn more calories than just standard walking. And I also do weightlifting, meaning just dumbbell weight, different dumbbell weight exercises via YouTube. So there is specifically one YouTuber who is fantastic and has these great series that I use, and I've invested in dumbbells that I've had for about 6 or 7 years now, from all the way from 2 pounds to 20 pounds, just depending. And that's how I work out at home, and we save money because we don't have to pay for gyms. Number 6 is paying off our debt. If you don't know my story, in my early 20s, I was in so much debt. I had things in collections, I had collector's calling, and I just did not know financial principles. I didn't understand money, budgeting, tracking your spending, not utilizing credit when I didn't need to, not putting things on payments. But this is a huge way that we save money. We aren't tied down by monthly payments. Even before our mortgage was paid off, that was the only required payment towards debt that we had for many years now. Now, I've had car payments in the past, but we will never again have anything on debt. The thing about debt is it's so easy now, it's so pushed, and it's such an easy way to get what you want rather than being patient. And we live in a day and age where I want it now, and no matter what I have to do, and that's okay, I can afford that payment. But when all of those payments from all those things every time you do that, because behind the root of all of that is you're looking for validation. You're looking for something within the things that you're buying, within the things that you're getting. And that's never going to, you're never going to find it. You're going to keep chasing it. So within debt, I just think it's something that is so invaded in society, at least in America, from what I understand, and people are in such heavy debt that it's something we avoid. We avoid it. We save money by not having it. We don't have to pay interest. We aren't held down by anything. It's important to us. We're going to move the serious stuff aside. Let's get into the more fun things. So number 7 is I do not dye my hair any longer. And if you'd known me from, I don't know, the age of in high school up till about 35, I'm 40 now, I always dyed my hair. I mean, I had completely blonde hair, completely red, like not red, but auburny red, really dark hair, all the stages in between. I always did something to my hair. And then it started to take a toll on my hair, and I eventually let it all grow out. And I've had my natural hair color now for 5, 6, maybe 7 years, and I absolutely love it. I don't have any gray hairs yet, but if I do turn gray, I think gray hair is absolutely beautiful. I think aging is absolutely beautiful, and I think embracing aging is absolutely beautiful, because with age comes wisdom. So I also cut my husband's hair. So I do have my hair trimmed from a friend of mine. Fantastic, super easy, every 10 to 12 weeks, not as expensive as having it dyed. My husband's hair I have cut since I've known him for the last 15 years. So that's how we save money. I don't dye my hair, and my husband doesn't have to pay for haircuts. Number 8 is one that is also an issue, and it's people just buying stuff. They just buy stuff to buy stuff. If you had access to some people's Amazon and you just scroll through, you would go, what is the purpose of all of this stuff? Why is it needed? But a huge way to save money, not have a cluttered house, not need as big of a house or storage options that you have to also buy, is not buying stuff for the sake of buying stuff. The thing is with us, if we buy something, we have to love it, or we have to need it. One of the two, and sometimes both. I'm not going to buy it even if I need it if I don't really love it. This is key. You don't have excess things. You don't have excess storage that you need for those things. And you can keep money and sanity, meaning I like a clean looking space. When my space gets cluttered, I feel as if I can't think. It's just something about me. If you're like me in that fact, let me know down below. Number 9 is one that I found extremely important when I noticed my schedule was being stretched, especially when our daughter started school and things changed, was preparing for the next day. For her, for myself, making sure my husband prepared as well, packing breakfast, packing your lunch, packing your snack, setting out your water bottle, doing all the things that in the morning when you're really not in the mood or have the time for it, aren't going to get done. So that you, again, that whole snacking thing, that whole eating out at lunch because you don't have anything, you didn't feel like it that morning, or stopping on the way in to get breakfast, sitting it out and being intentional about it and having it right there in front of your face. Even if this is sitting out your coffee mug, and if you have one of those little Keurigs, sitting the pod already in the coffee pot, so you just have to flip the little lid. Putting the least resistance between you and the next day's decisions being your morning decisions when you're tired, perhaps you didn't sleep well, and you have very little resistance against those temptations. Number 10 is very practical. We buy fuel efficient vehicles. This is very important to me. One of the things that I look at if I'm looking into a vehicle, seeing what type of gas it requires and ensuring that it is going to be one that I'm going to get a lot of miles per gallon with. We have one vehicle that, now that our house is paid off, we have one vehicle that's going on 12 years old, going on 13 years old, 180,000 miles or so. So we're starting now, because I like to take years to think about things. I like to take time to save up. And I'm starting now to look at what might be that next vehicle that is the replacement, because I'm looking ahead. And one of the things, there was one type of vehicle that I was super excited about. I thought, let me look into this one. And I looked at the gas mileage and I said, No. Fuel efficient cars is something that people don't think about when they look at, you know, the price of a car. You have to think about not only the fuel cost, the miles per gallon, the type of gas that goes on it, but also the maintenance cost. There are some brands of cars that I love, that are great, that look wonderful, that have great reviews, but the maintenance cost on these things is ridiculous. And because I know that this thing that goes down in value has long-term expenses with it, considerable long-term expenses with it, I look at those long-term expenses when I'm determining which to choose. Number 11 is my love for leftovers. Eating leftovers saves so much. Whether it is your lunch the next day, whether it is for dinner the next night, meaning you don't have to spend time cooking or you don't have to buy as many ingredients to make meals for the week, so you don't have as much of a grocery expense, leftovers are key. And one of the things that I think about when thinking about meals for the next week is what's going to be good as a leftover, because obviously there are some foods that aren't good heated over, especially if all you have access to is a microwave, maybe at your office. And what can I ensure that I do to make extras for that meal? Eating leftovers, enjoying leftovers is key. It's a huge part of how we save money. Number 12 is that we don't have cable TV or satellite. We haven't had cable or TV or satellite for over about a decade now, if I'm not mistaken, probably longer. Don't remember the exact year that we got rid of satellite. We utilize 2 streaming services only. That's all we have. We also have an antenna on our TV. However, we really don't watch any local station whatsoever. We don't watch news on the television. We utilize alternative news sources for our news. And with the TV, we don't spend a lot of time in front of it, but when we do, it's with items that are on one of those 2 streaming services that we use. So we definitely save money. We don't have these big, huge TV packages that so many people are used to having. I remember when they were created. I remember the first time cable came out, and the person, the installer sales guy, was at our house and handing us the remote and the little sheet that said all the channels and what the channels were, and looking at the TV like, whoa. But that is no more, and it's not necessary. It's not impressive. I don't need it, and I certainly don't need that many channels or that high cost for television. Number 13 is one I was recently talking in the comment section, commented with a viewer, and I love reading your comments, so please let me know how you're doing. Talk to me. Let me know what you think of the video, what videos you want to see in the comments. But we were specifically talking about, spending time at home, and the viewer was like, I feel like every time I go outside the door, I spend money. Well, absolutely. I completely agree with you. You at least spend money if you have to drive somewhere just by the gas. But otherwise, you're going out, you're probably going to spend money. And so number 13 is that we love spending time at home. We love our home. We love spending time here. There are things that we can do together. We can cook together. We can hang out on the porch together in the afternoon and listen to music. We just got a new puzzle to work on our dining room table. That quality time, adventures inside. If you can create an atmosphere in your home that's not overly cluttered or too busy where you don't want to be there because it just stresses you out, and you can find enjoyment there. And I'm not talking about just sitting at home all day and watching television, as I mentioned television in the previous tips here. I'm not talking about that at all. I'm talking about things that you can do at home, what you can do outside of that type of entertainment. At the same point, we love cooking at home. I don't know what it is about recently, but I still like to go to restaurants, at least the ones that I know are good and worth the cost. But restaurant food has gone downhill. Eating out, it doesn't have the same, benefit? I can't think of the right word. The same taste, literally and figuratively in my mouth. And so cooking at home and experimenting with more recipes, and again, using that time, and as my daughter's getting older, every age is fun. It's just even more fun now involving her in the cooking, and it's such a bonding experience. And the benefit of all that is you are saving a lot of money from not eating out. Now, I'm not saying I don't eat out, because I absolutely do, but it is rare and it is purposeful and intentional. It isn't driving through for the sake of I'm hungry and I'm going to get some food. Number 15 is one that is extremely important, especially for long-term planning, and it's that we plan ahead for larger expenses. So things like taxes or insurance that you have to pay. And some people get discounts if you pay insurance in bulk. You get a discount, meaning they might tack on a convenience fee if you make the payment monthly. So we know to set aside, we have a list of all these items that we're either saving up for or that we know are fixed expenses and when they come up and how much we need to set aside each month to make sure there's money in the account that we can easily pay that bill. Planning ahead for larger expenses is going to save you money. Number 16 goes along with number 15, and it is budgeting and tracking your expenses. Now, don't cut off the video yet. I've got 2 more tips here. But this is a game changer. If I'm looking at you right now and I'm saying to you, you can do this, and I fully understand everybody has different circumstances, and I want to give you hope that you can do this. You can budget, you can track your expenses. And if you can commit to it, looking you right in the eye right now, if you can commit to it for just 90 days and it's not going to be right, my budget is still off. A budget is a best guess. But if you can commit to it, and even if you go over budget, don't stop tracking your expenses. We recently mentored a couple friend of ours, and they stopped the first month. They went over budget and they stopped tracking the expenses at that point. They just threw the plan right out the window. You don't have to do that. You need to still track those expenses even though you feel bad that the budget is no longer there. The benefit of that is you now know that your budget needs to change the following month. Otherwise, you're not going to know. You're not going to know what you underestimated or overestimated so that you could make it better based on the historical data from the months previously. Number 17 is something that is an absolute habit for me, and it is my Saturday morning meal planning, shopping list, shopping grocery routine. It is a whole routine, and it takes me about 10 minutes. It's not a big deal, but it saves me considerable amount of money. I've talked about this many times. I meal plan for the week based on what I already have in the pantry, what I know is coming up throughout the week. Am I going to be home on time? Is my husband going to be home? Is it going to be 5 o'clock when I get home, or am I going to be home at 4? Is it a weekend and we can make bigger meals? All that goes into play when I'm deciding what's going to happen that week. And then based on that, I back up and I go, okay, what do I already have to make these meals? What do I need to get to make these meals? Put all of that on the list. Go to the store, get the items. It's all done. It's such a huge game changer, and anybody who has watched my channel for years knows that this has always been something that I've said to do. And when they have implemented it, they have been so happy and so excited about how easy it was, how much it simplified life, and how much money they saved. Number 18 is that we know we aren't, and we don't want to be the Joneses. We don't want to be like everybody else, because we know specifically that is a road that never ends. There is always somebody one step ahead. So if you ever get to that step where you think you want it to be, then for some reason you're not happy because you see somebody else that's past that. And then so on and so on the story goes. There's always somebody who's further along, and you can't compare yourself to somebody's 3,655 days if you're starting on day 1. Not comparing yourself to others. And one way that we do this is we're not on social media, besides me having this YouTube channel here. But I don't utilize YouTube to see what everybody else is doing in their life and want what that is. Don't forget to tell me down in the comments what are some of your favorite ways to save. I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you have a fantastic week, and I look forward to seeing you next weekend for a new video.